Hello Mallards, it is Sunday. I am at Big Grove Brewery in Iowa City because my friend Alissa has an art fair today. So you may remember Alissa. Alissa and I went to high school together and she lived in Arizona for a while, but it turns out she's moved back to Iowa and she's doing an art fair today, and I thought that it would be a lot of fun to come and see, and also I'll take any excuse to go look at pretty artists' art. So here we are. The first booth that I'm going to talk about is the lovely Kai Kaiser. This is Kai.
Hi.
They're incredible. We have a whole selection of zines. We have buttons, we have stickers, we have art, but mostly we have this, which is, sorry, you have to remind me what it's called.
Pointillism or stippling.
Pointillism or stippling, which essentially means that Kai put millions of tiny dots using their hands to do that, and I do not understand how you did that. So, Kai, how long have you been doing art?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember how old I am. Probably like 15 years. I was one of those kids who was convinced I couldn't do it, and then realized that it's just a skill that you can learn. So I feel like I try to communicate that with folks. Like, you can be whatever age and do artsy stuff and have fun with it and do stuff like this.
And what is your favorite thing about doing art?
My favorite thing, I think, it just makes my heart happy. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel more like myself, you know?
Okay.
And I also just love like the interactions that come with it, and sharing stories and sharing art with other people. It's kind of magic, you know?
And speaking of sharing stories, I want you to tell me about this comic.
Sure. So Salton Sea it's based on one of my favorite places in the world. This gigantic artificial lake in the middle of the California desert that was made like, you know, nearly a century ago from like farm runoff. And they were going to make it into, they being people with money, developers were going to make it into like a coastal resort, and then a series of tragedies left it basically abandoned, except for a couple of teeny tiny little rundown towns. And it's a super fascinating place, and has recently become a haven for found object and like quote unquote trash art. And it's really cool. It's just a really cool vibe. And so like I love drawing fictional characters inspired by like the setting and the art around there, and kind of creating little like slice of life stories about them.
Awesome. I will link Kai's mini socials down there, so check them out. Now we are at a booth that immediately caught my eye, mostly because I have a journal problem, but also because of the aesthetic choices and the amount of mushrooms. So this is Of Moss and Bone Creations and the incredible creator Michaela.
Nice to meet you.
So Michaela, have you been doing art forever? Or?
I have been, yeah. For as long as I've been able to walk, I've been making art. I've been only making sketchbooks since the beginning of COVID, though. It was a nice way to recycle some of the old sketchbooks that I wasn't fully using at the time, and now it's just kind of blown up to me constantly on the hunt at thrift stores or art stores for all sorts of paper materials. I really like an antique aesthetic, so I like to recycle old materials that I come across, but then some of the sketchbooks are also made from scratch.
Okay, and so I see that a lot of this display is sketchbooks, but
Yes.
What else do you do?
I also like to do a lot of drawing. I also embroider a little bit as well, and I've also done some line printing, like lithography, printmaking.
Oh, yes, embroidery. And do you make these tiny little felted toadstools?
I do, yes. Yeah, this is needle felting. So it takes sheep wool, and you take like a barbed needle and you punch it multiple times, and there is a little bit of embroidery in the base as well. And here's another little guy. That one's a little more time consuming though, so I don't do as much of the needle felting. The sketchbook making is a nice way for me as a sensory person to make art that you're encouraged to touch, which is like a big thing for me, because you know, you're not supposed to touch paintings or sculptures, but books you're supposed to handle. So
Oh,
it's a really
I
nice
love that.
way. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice way to handle and touch some artwork.
And you said something to me earlier that I'd like you to repeat, which is, what do you do when you start your sketchbooks to get over the fact that these are so pretty and you don't want to start them?
What I encourage people to do, and what I try to do when I first start a sketchbook, is take the first page and just scribble on it. Just do something really fun. Take some markers, take some pens, take some paint, and just make a mess of it. And that way, it's a nice way to break into the sketchbook. You don't feel like you've messed it up or anything, because the first page has already broken the ice, and then you can just jump in and have fun, which is what sketchbooks are made to do. So,
well, thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And I will link her socials down below. You can check her out. So the next table is actually an author's table, but does include art. This is Scott Morris.
Hello.
And Scott, you're a writer?
I'm a writer, yep.
And what kind of writing do you do?
I mostly do personal essays and poetry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And you have a variety of zines, and I want to ask you, because these have a tarot bent,
Yes.
what is the inspiration for the magpie?
So the magpie is slightly tarot and slightly just that I'm a collector by nature, and most of the art that I do myself is collage art, so it has that magpie theme. But there's also a group of tarot enthusiasts who make magpie decks, and a magpie deck is it's a deck of tarot cards, but you've like collected them rather than buying them, so that they're all different, artists, or you might make some yourself, and so. I really like that style of tarot, and some of my first zines were inspired by that group that I'm a part of. And so each zine comes with a custom tarot card that I've made that you could theoretically put into one of your magpie decks.
That's so cool. Yeah. It also has a magpie nest on the table for treasures. And I want to ask, as an RPG kid, what's the Witch's Cat?
So the Witch's Cat is a game that I designed with one of my friends who is a game designer, and it is a solo role-playing game where you use a deck of tarot cards and it generates a prompt for you. With Witch's Cat, you have one prompt that is what your witch is doing, and you're then supposed to say, here's how I'm going to help. But then the other prompt that goes along with it is something about being a cat that gets in the way. So like you have to hack up a hairball, or you need to take a nap, or something like that.
Nice.
And so you play 9 rounds, and over the course of those 9 rounds, you're just a cat helping out a witch.
That's really fun. Thank you. The next table is the lovely May Roded, who has a variety of art, but what drew me initially were shirts with corn husks on them. And May has informed me that she likes corn husks, and why is this?
I just moved here from California, and I understand that we are now surrounded by corn in Iowa, and it's just really entrancing and captivating. So I made some Santa-type shirts. I got a monoprint going on, got some pencil bags with corn husks on them, so yeah.
Just a little bit everywhere. I love that. That's wonderful. And so you, it appears, do a variety of kinds of art. So what sort of art do you do?
So I'm a printmaker, and I'm here in Iowa City because I'm going to the University of Iowa to get my MFA in printmaking. And I do like a lot of different printmaking, as you can tell from my table, but I really am into etching and intaglio practices. But a lot of cyanotype. I have a background in photography as well. So a little bit of everything. I was teaching back in Los Angeles, but now I am a student and working on my own stuff. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And I will link her Instagram down below. Ooh, wait, I do want to stop one more. So this is screen printing, not one of the lists of printing she's mentioned so far. But she chose grocery carts because you can nest the screen prints together, because that's how grocery carts work. And I just think that's really cute. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with the grocery cart.
Well, thank you for sharing your art.
Of course, thank you.
Now we have reached the portion of the day where I talk about the real reason that I am here, and it's for this table and this artist. Yay! So this is Alissa, my best friend, and I'm gonna flip the camera around so we can get a better look at art. All right, Alissa. So I've known you forever, but the people watching the vlog have not. So you've been doing art since you were what, like 2.5?
Yeah, as soon as I possibly could, basically.
Yeah. And what do you consider your art style?
Honestly, it's funny you ask me that at this juncture because I have this style, which is 60-year-old retired man style,
Yes.
where I do plein air painting. And then I have this style where I'm a 14-year-old girl and I just do insanity. So I just like doing whimsical art and whatever catches my fancy in the moment, is what I'd say.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yes.
And what is your favorite thing about doing art?
Honestly, I like the peace that you get from it because, you know, there's a lot of thinking you have to do and a lot of planning you need to do, but what I enjoy is when you're actually doing the making and just getting in the zone. That is my favorite part.
Awesome. Well, link down there to her amazing art because everybody should check her out. I own several original Alissa pieces and I'm probably going to get more. I had an absolutely wonderful time at the art fair, just meeting artists and buying things and getting to hang out with Alissa. So now I'm heading home for the evening, but Alissa and I are absolutely making plans to do something in the future. And I will see you tomorrow.